Hey there, welcome to Down to Watch. This is the podcast where we ask, are you down to watch? I'm your host, Kahmeela.
I'm Dan.
And we're going to be talking about movies, music, TV, and just general pop culture goodness. If you have not already, can you please follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook? If you have, thank you. We totally appreciate it. This is episode 37, and we are experiencing heavy maternal instincts. And back for his triumphant return, Scott Jarvis.
Thank you. Good to be back. Good that you had me back.
Yes, we had so much fun. We had so much fun last time talking about Ryan Gosling and his doped up abilities.
Little half Nelson. A little bit of a tone shift between movies that we're reviewing, but good nonetheless.
Thinking about that movie.
Yeah, but it was a Jarvis pick, and we were down to watch it. I don't.
Go, Dan. Don't stop. It's Pete Seeger.
I just got.
It's like, oh, how long is this going to go on? I might be slightly ill prepared on my notes. I don't know what happened to me.
Well,
I got a new job, and so I now have things to do at my actual job. So
nice. Utilizing her skill set.
So before I had the ability and just extra time to just prep for my podcasts and whatnot at my old job, but now I'm actually
So, Jarvis, are you prepared to lead this discussion?
No, I'm almost there. We'll start. Okay, I got IMDb pulled up. It's my crutch. Okay, so.
All right, the film was made in 1987 by brother-making tandem Joel and Ethan Coen.
Nice.
You go. Directed and written by the Coen Brothers, and Raising Arizona 87. And the IMDb summary is when a childless couple of an ex-con and an ex-cop decide to help themselves to one of another family's quintuplets, their lives get more complicated than anticipated.
Because it wasn't complicated enough.
That is a very, very, very good description for what I think could have been shortened to Screwball zaniness ensues at some point.
All right, so let's get into our personal histories with this movie. I remember seeing this as a young child, and I saw it a lot in my youth, but I think it's been a really long time since I've seen it, and I remember enjoying it. But I don't know if it stood up to that for me this time around.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I don't think it holds up.
Nope.
What was yours?
It totally held up. I was a man, according to my tradition and my ancestry, when this movie came out.
It came out.
Right. So I was like 13.
Yeah, right. I think you're a little bit older than that.
You wish.
Yeah, 87. You're like 14. Go on, man. You were a year into your adulthood.
Always bad at math.
You're already heavy with the bills and responsibilities of mandom.
Of my treasury bond.
He could understand High's conundrum about becoming a man.
Exactly.
Right, and a repeat offender. He was a repeat. That's what he was.
Recidivist.
He was a word for him. H.I. McDonough. I love how.
Wait a minute. We're not getting into the movie just yet.
My personal history.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's always been part of me, and always since I was born that this movie lived. Go get me that baby. Get back and get me baby right now. I have thought that so many times. Holly Hunter embodies the old Jewish lady that lives inside of me, and H.I. embodies the man that lives outside of me. I'm a recipient.
Both sides of the pole for you.
What about you, Jarvis?
It was the first Coen Brothers film I ever saw. I knew, I was a teenager when I saw it, so I think just the sheer silliness of the movie is what I connected to when I saw it as a teenager. As I've watched it numerous times growing up, I think it's a good example of kind of the absurd that the Coen Brothers are so good with taking a genre and making it kind of tilting it on its head a little bit. But Kahmeela, like you, watching it this time through, I wasn't as fond as a whole of the film as I was in the past. But it's still, I mean, we'll get into it. There's still some sequences in the film that are just completely priceless, for me at least.
Dan is raising his hand.
I just want to say that the reason it stood up for me is because I liked Nick Cage again.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time since I've liked Nick Cage. Face Off was the last time I liked
That's
Nick
where
Cage.
I stand also. I think,
And that was, I don't even know how long ago that was.
That's
it feels
had to
like
be,
3 lifetimes.
I think I was living in Detroit when that came out, so it was like 96,
he was
97.
so skinny. He was just
Face Off?
Rockwell.
Yeah, Face Off.
Face Off was 97, so it was 10 years after this. But I'm just warning you guys right now, if you both do not have, enough prep material, I will gladly go into my 20-minute monologue about why Nicolas Cage is one of the greatest actors of his generation.
Oh, I dare
excited.
you.
I'm excited to get into that.
To hear that,
We'll
yes.
just do a quick rundown of our characters and actors. We have Holly Hunter, who plays Ed, who is the ex-cop that falls in love with Nicolas Cage. Plays Hi, who is H.I., which I stands for something.
Yes, that's one of my trivia questions.
Oh, okay. And he is an ex-con. John Goodman, plays Gale, one of H.I.'s old bunkmates in prison, and William Forsythe.
We mean that in the family sense.
Not like an Oz sort of a way, but
very different film.
William Forsythe plays Gale's brother, Evil, a very, very young William Forsythe.
Mm-hmm.
You look like William Pitt.
Your filthy mouth. There's no way.
You're not the dentist.
Anyway,
Michael.
Frances McDermott as Dot, who was friends of Ed, and her husband, Sam McMurray, always a delight, who plays Glenn.
If I may break really quickly, I would like to let you know that Sam McMurtry was one of my greatest celebrity sightings when I lived in Los Angeles. I was losing my mind about him being in the restaurant that I worked at, and no one knew who he was.
What's funny is I didn't even know. I had no idea what his name was until I looked it up for this podcast.
All I could think of, I didn't wait on him, but all I could think every time I walked by him was the line, "There's something wrong with my semen."
Right. So we're gonna get us another kid because the 5 we have right now are so well behaved.
Kids were awful.
And we're swingers.
The one that was writing on the walls, that just made me. That was like some old, some crazy dark Eli Roth type horror film or something. It was just.
I have ADD. We're way ahead of our.
That's fine. Just jump in wherever at this point.
Well, can I talk? Can I break?
Yes.
I like that. That was a great terminology.
Please.
I just love the cold open of this movie. Like it's just H.I. talking about getting arrested the first time, and then basically it's like. While he's getting busted, he's using that time to hit on the pretty girl that takes his picture.
It's like a solid minutes
before
we get to actual
It's such
credits.
a cold open.
Yeah.
It's just a nice and they do that sometimes.
The Coen?
I don't know if that's a hallmark. Like dream sequences are a hallmark. There's certain things at this point we can go back and look at Raising Arizona because the Coen Brothers are freaking canon now. Do we all agree?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
And Jarvis really turned me on to the Coen Brothers. Jarvis had the best knowledge of pop culture. I did not appreciate it until you made me all those mixtapes. And songs are still coming out today that you discovered back in 1998.
Not like I wrote them or anything. Just had my ear to the ground. That's all that it was. But thank you.
Amazing prophetic mixtapes were ridiculous. The Quarter Life Crisis series.
Was that one of the tape titles?
That was a volume of mixtapes.
I think I did 8 volumes of the Quarter Life Crisis mixtapes for Dan. So
Such a major boon in life to have had those. Really, seriously, it was just amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's an art.
But Dan, no, you're right. The Coen Brothers in a lot of their films will use narrative voiceover to kind of set tone or set the plot up. And again, great cold open, but it's funny because you watch a movie like Raising Arizona and then you watch something like they didn't do it in Inside Llewyn Davis. I'm trying to think of Man Who Wasn't There. They used it, a couple others, and you can see that they've gotten better at kind of nuancing it a little bit, not so, in your face.
Yeah, Raising Arizona was definitely like, okay, we're doing this, like, this is our thumbprint, and it was a very heavy thumbprint. And I love also in the opening, cold open, it's while he's getting fingerprinted, he slips like a promise ring on her or something like that.
That is an Arizona trailer park full-on engagement ring, Dan. I know that didn't look like much, but he didn't steal for that, so he had to pay for that.
Then a lot of quarters getting that one out of the machine.
Well, Kahmeela, let me ask you, what was it about this? I mean, you said you grew up watching it, kind of part of your movie DNA of growing up. What was it about this time that was lacking or just different for you?
I think I was bothered by all the facial expressions of Nicolas Cage. For one, like the whole like shut one eye and then the other eye is bug open. And maybe there was just like a lot of stuff was just a lot of the scenes seemed to drag out a little much or seemed to be a little too over the top for my liking. Yeah. There were definitely some scenes that I laughed like a wholehearted like belly laugh. There were like a couple in there. And I also don't want to take away from Holly Hunter's performance was amazing.
I love him just so much.
Like I always liked her. Like she's a really great actress, and I did see that this role was written specifically for her. The Coen Brothers wrote it for her, and it was just perfect. Like she was just amazing in it, and I also love that Frances McDermott of course is like her best friend in this movie, and it's
Where's that baby?
Perfect. So like the reactions to the baby, I think what really got me sour was when he was trying to get the baby, when he went to go to snatch the baby, and he was too concerned with that they were all crying, and it's like, and all that time he spent trying to shut the rest of those babies up, he could have been out and home by then with a baby. So that was just bothersome to me.
You didn't like his ex?
Yes.
I think he was like, these babies he doesn't want to hurt the babies or disturb the babies because HI, even though he is a repeat offender.
Yeah, but also, what was it like?
He never used.
Yeah, he never used. He didn't have guns.
Loaded guns.
Yeah, he didn't have bullets in his
guns.
He's
like the criminal.
He's a sensitive soul,
He's like, I just steal stuff and get shot at and run real good.
Right. In his wicker white shoes. God.
Kahmeela, you talk about that scene with the babies and watching it this time. I agree. I was like, man, I don't remember it going on this long.
Right.
But that being said, there are montages within that sequence that I think really kind of speak to what the Coen Brothers were trying to do, because you talk about Nicolas Cage's face and stuff kind of being cartoonish. I felt like they were trying to make a Looney Tunes cartoon live action.
Yes.
And just real quick, in the scene where the mom comes up to check on the babies, if you watch like old Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny stuff, like that shot of her coming up the stairs, that's like almost frame for frame like an old Looney Tunes cartoon.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I was almost kind of thinking like, well, damn, and also with that scene is like the Arizonas seem to be kind of negligent parents to begin with, because it took them like forever to finally go upstairs and check on them.
That's the thing about Norman Rockwell paintings. They just show you how narcissistic and disinterested the adults were of the children.
Kids are falling out of the crib. They're just looking up at the ceiling.
There's far too much noise going on upstairs for
this is
babies.
This is the industrial era. We're going to compromise the ozone and our ethics so that we can stare at the fireplace.
But yeah, it was really, that's what I did feel. I felt like it was very cartoony, and I guess that's why it appealed to me more as a youngster as opposed to now. Not to say that I'm too grown for cartoons, but it's just, I don't know. It was just a certain feeling. I kind of was getting a little bored.
There's a subtext, I think, overarching, and coming back to this movie, and I saw it this time because I was thinking baby-proofing the movie would have been hard. There's like this subtext kind of overarching theme of putting the baby in jeopardy as much as possible with the art of cinematic skill, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Films are about putting the lens in jeopardy. The lens is always in jeopardy, and that's what keeps us going. We're like, oh my God, we're gonna burst through the screen.
Uh-huh.
And in this movie, throughout the entire movie, think about how many times you're like, they should have had a disclaimer like, no babies were killed or hurt in the making of this film. We didn't stop a car. That was a movie screen of a car driving up to a lens that we put behind a baby, and look how smooth that was. You didn't even notice, or you don't care, you heartless bastards. This baby's in danger.
I think the trick was more so that the car inched up towards the baby and they sped it up in the frame. But that baby.
Go, Kahmeela. Get technical on our asses. Do it, girl. Do it.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
But a complete aside, the baby was so cute. He was such the sweetest little baby. Oh my God, those big blue eyes.
And the Coen Brothers like, the only thing cuter than one baby would be 5.
All 5. And apparently there were 15 babies that were employed to play the quintuplets, and one of them got fired when he learned how to walk.
Well, Kahmeela, the baby's got to be adorable. I mean, how else are you going to explain how 2 hardened criminals, brothers, are going to go from trying to get the reward money to naming it Gale Jr.?
Right.
And so speaking of that was the scene where they realized the first time that they left him in the middle of the road that I just full on belly laughed is when they're screaming in the car. And it should have been it should have been annoying to me, just like the continual guttural screams. But John Goodman punching the fucking ceiling of the car.
Mississippi, got some baby grub, baby wipes, got them diapers in disposable kind. I got me a packet of blues.
They blow up in a funny shapes at all?
No, just circular.
Say, where's Junior?
What do you mean, didn't you put him in?
No, I thought... Where'd we leave him? I was watching that and I was like, man, how shredded were William Forsythe's and John Goodman's vocal cords after shooting that take after take after take.
Right.
Exactly. But so that was one of them that it's just I still kind of giggle just to think about that scene because it's just perfect. And John Goodman, and another one of the things that is pretty great about the writing, the dialogue in this film is that, you know, you've got these people who are like supposedly trailer park trash and criminals and convicts and stuff, but they speak.
No offense to people who live in trailer parks, of course.
Quote unquote, the stereotype trailer park trash. But they all speak so eloquently, and specifically H.I.'s voiceovers. They are damn near like they're poetic with just the words that he uses and the way he chooses to describe things. And even just like John Goodman's character sitting there talking to him about, you know, what their plans are, what they should do. And, you know, he's very calm about everything that he's discussing. And
great delivery.
But yeah. And like, even, Holly Hunter, Ed is, you know, she speaks eloquently about they are a respectable family now. And, you know, so it's like that. It's like,
we're going to be normal now, right, H.I.?
It's a beautiful
right, H.I.
It's a beautiful contrast in,
Right.
in the life that they're living and the things that you're seeing from like their wicker shoes and the that fucking living room set furniture.
Their lawn,
Which I-
their lawn furniture in the middle of the desert, and well, and in a lot of ways, I don't know if you guys are aware, but if the Coen Brothers get taken to task by critics and by some film goers, there are some critics that feel that the Coen Brothers are utterly condescending about their characters. That like one of the reasons it's hard to love a Coen Brothers movie is that they're looking down their noses at their characters a lot of times.
Yeah, they're very cartoony. I think overall that's exactly on point because in all of their movies, it's caricatures
really?
that make comedy work.
Not all of them, but I mean, look at a movie like Inside Llewyn Davis. I kind of felt like they do this great thing or Fargo, where they're paying homage to Minnesota and like growing up in Minnesota, but then at the same time in Fargo, like they're making fun of a lot of people in Minnesota. Or Inside Llewyn Davis, they're paying homage to this like golden age of folk music in Greenwich Village, but at the same time, a lot of the people that are in it, you're like, really?
Yeah, like I surprisingly really enjoyed Inside Llewyn Davis. I think we got like free passes to go see it, and I was like, folk singer. But I left the theater like, wow, I was really intrigued by that, and so I thought that was that might be one of my favorite Coen Brother films.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dan. No, you.
Right in the middle of all the caricatures, they plop down a really interesting human story. Like in this one, it's about kidnapping a baby because you can't have a baby and you want a baby, and they got 5. And Inside Llewyn Davis, it was kind of his self-sabotage. There's some kind of interesting human vulnerable story that goes on.
Right.
And it's kind of guarded by and or enabled by and or examined through this, we'll call it bigoted lens.
I'll say 2 things. The first thing I'll say is, and I don't want to stir up anything between you two, but Kahmeela, if you did not like Inside Llewyn Davis, Dan probably would have divorced you. And then 2, I would say I don't have a problem with how the Coen Brothers are, because even though I think there are times where, they are poking fun at their characters, the writing is so good, the cinematography is, like, they know what they're doing shot by shot, and they're just complete filmmakers. So a little snide towards their characters. They created them, let them do it.
Right. Yeah.
They make him kind of part of the place, of.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of the cinematography, this movie had really great sunsets that played a really big part in it. And sunsets and sunrises, just really picturesque.
Absolutely.
I just want to point of contest with the whole 5 babies, and the whole time, I don't think anybody was positive that was Nathan Jr.
No.
But just after the news came out and said it was Nathan Jr., everybody just accepted that was Nathan Jr. And throughout the movie,
Right.
H.I. didn't call him Ed Jr. Ed didn't call him H.I. Jr. Everybody called that baby Nathan.
Nathan Jr. Well, even the dad in the press conference, which one do they get? Nathan Jr., we think.
Right.
Even the parents don't know.
Right.
And how do you keep track of 5 babies like that? 5 twins,
Right.
Quintuplets.
Quintuplet.
Come on, Dan, act like you've been to school.
I've been to. And then there's this other thing too about how the Coen Brothers use dream sequences in all of their movies as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big thing. H.I. had this dream about a fire and a man.
Ghost Rider.
Right, like the Leonard Smalls. I love that's his name too, the bounty hunter.
Can we just call him Warthog from Hell?
Friends call me Lenny. And he's obviously a big part of the plot moving, so you're moving from act to act when he makes his sparse appearance until the climax. So it's very kind of like the trains are coming around the mountain kind of thing in terms of another plot device. It was very naked but well used.
Yeah.
Again, to me, just an example of kind of a more raw. I mean, I guess you could make a comparison between Leonard Smalls and what's No Country for Old Men, the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of more of a subtle and nuanced version of evil than just a guy who blows up bunnies and.
Right, Javier Bardem.
There we go.
And that, by the way, that's probably one of the scariest villains in a film.
Right.
In No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
Oh, because he's real.
Yeah.
It's not a cartoon. I mean, he's just fucking evil.
Pure evil, and the smartest weapon I've ever seen, except outside of an icicle.
Yeah, right.
It melts. Very nice, Kahmeela. You do live with a lawyer. Oh my goodness.
No, she came with this list of ways to make a body disappear and things that will.
Something tells me you've reinforced her list.
Yes.
I've survived. I have survived.
So, what is your 20-minute your monologue or your?
All right, I'm gonna give you the abridged version. I have argued for probably the last 15 years of my life, and it used to be a lot easier to argue before Nicolas Cage got into tax trouble. But I've argued that Nicolas Cage is one of the few actors of his generation, or really of any generation, that can truly pull off any genre of movie. You have Pacino or De Niro, guys who can do drama really well, thriller really well, but can you imagine? I mean, Robert De Niro has made a couple of romantic comedies, and can you name any of them?
The Fockers.
Romantic.
He was in a movie called Falling in Love with Meryl Streep, and I think there's another one, but just can't do it. I mean, name a genre of film, and I will give you a Nicolas Cage performance in that genre that is exceptional.
Dude has been working overtime since the beginning of time. He makes like 5 movies a year.
Musical.
He hasn't done a musical. Damn you! All right, my theory is shot.
Ha! What did I win?
But that being said, no, wait, I got to think about this. All right, I'm going to get back to you on musicals. But if you think about like dramas, you've got like Leaving Las Vegas, amazing film. Adaptation, his performance is the two twin brothers, and like you just know who is who based off of what he's doing.
I'm sorry, was Wild at Heart a musical?
No, but he was the Elvis character. Another great film with him that I love him in.
What Elvis is?
Honeymoon in Vegas. Just one of many romantic comedies that he excelled at. It Could Happen to You. Then, you talk about comedies, Raising Arizona. You think about a movie like The Weatherman or like a con movie like Matchstick Man. I'm telling you, Nicolas Cage. And again.
Was he in Little Shop of Horrors?
No.
Why
not in Little Shop of Horrors?
Why not?
All right, I'm pulling up IMDb. And I got to ask you, Kahmeela, while I'm looking at this, for me, the crowning achievement of the entire film is the gas station robbery that leads to the extended chase scene.
Yeah.
No,
I agree. I would say that was probably, that was absolutely Nick Cage's crowning achievement in this film, because I love the fact that of how cool and his facial expressions and how just kind of neutral they stayed throughout it all. Even while he's robbing the dude and then he realizes, Ed is leaving and he's off for the chase and he's going around, his just facial expression is just, the same. It's just neutral throughout the whole thing. And that I found to be beautiful.
That was the facial expression of what's happening.
One of the best looks he gives is when he gets thrown out of the windshield of the truck, and he gets up and kind of looks back with a little sneer, like, "Thanks, buddy."
Yes, and then I also appreciate when Ed finally picks him up, And she's arguing with him, and he's like, and they're arguing, but in the middle of it all, he's like, turn right, honey.
Turn right, honey.
And it's like, right here, and it's just, he swoops back in to get the Huggies again. That was his main goal.
Sweetest thing about it too.
Right. So it comes, you come to see, like, in all of that, like, you want to think that, yeah, it was just a bullshit excuse to go rob the convenience store, but no, he knew he needed Huggies, and he was gonna get it from when he lost them from the first one, and then he runs into the other grocery store trying to get them again, and it just doesn't happen for him, and then he gets back in the car with Ed, and then he's like takes her back to pick him up in the street. So that is a fantastic theme. And even like the whole, I think I enjoyed the pack of wild dogs too, and then just everybody running through that house and
oh yeah, that chase scene was ridiculous. It was just amazing.
It's definitely not for people who don't like a lot of screaming and a little bit of shrillness to it, but I enjoyed it.
The only movie where they intentionally put the crying of a baby in the movie in the beginning.
No, but check it. They say
Checking it.
Like in the little fun facts thing, a little trivia, it's that Nathan Jr. is the only one that doesn't cry throughout this entire film, even though the adults cry all throughout around him. He's the only one that's not crying.
There you go.
That makes sense. He's the anchor of the film, keeping it all together.
They fade out on a dream sequence. It's a whole, basically it's a love story, and it ends with the whole will they, won't they. Because when they return the baby and Mr. Arizona catches him, he's like, well, sleep on it before you break up. And then, of course, H.I. has a dream about Nathan Jr., a gift from a family afar, and then, he's playing football, and he's either a quarterback or a receiver. I don't fucking know. Something.
But he's like...
He has the ball.
He's got the ball.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Dan about Face Off being the last Nicolas Cage role that I have enjoyed fully.
I challenge the two of you to watch. Have you seen Matchstick Men?
Yes, I own it. I love Matchstick Men, but it's mostly for Sam Rockwell. But I mean, I enjoy Nick Cage in the film, and it's a great film, but I still feel like his role in Face Off was better than his role in Matchstick Men.
Have I seen Matchstick?
I don't know.
I don't think I have. Why does it make me hungry for potato chips?
Because those
Matchstick.
Yeah, those matchstick chips.
Potato chips.
That's right. Matchsticks. All right.
Well, let me ask you just one more thing, and then I will pipe down for a second. I watched the film with Christy, my wife, for viewers, and we've watched it before. We enjoyed all of it, and then we got to the end, and the first words out of her mouth after the end was "goddamn epilogue." And she hates anything that has some sort of kind of like summarizing or 10 years from now. Did the end bother you guys at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Too obvious.
Yeah, I don't like epilogues. To me, seem like a really nice and tidy way to tie things up, and I don't like movies that do that.
I just feel like they were forced into it. I hope they were forced into it.
Hmm.
I hope the producers were like, we need a fucking happy ending here. We need the kaboom.
And what's funny is
Disney birds singing and shit.
What's funny is I think that was kind of reminiscent of, and I know it came out way after, so I don't know if maybe Spike Lee kind of took a cue from this, but in 25th Hour, spoiler, guys out there haven't seen it, but like at the end, when he's off to jail, when he's driving off to jail, he has that dream about his family and his grandbabies and all that stuff, and he sees he and his wife growing old together or whatever. But at least with that one, it turned out we knew it was just a dream, and we knew that he was off to jail for real.
Well, and I love that movie. In the end, was kind of for me, and I think the reason why I liked this one a little bit more and wasn't as bothered by it was, I'm looking at the final quote. It seemed like us. Well, home. If not Arizona, then a land not too far away, where all parents are strong and wise and capable, and all children are happy and beloved. I don't know. Maybe it was Utah. And I know I live in the state, but that was a good final line.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the major investor from Utah. That makes sense. story ends. That's what the sacred toad said.
Exactly.
So can we all just agree that his dream about the biker was Ghost Rider?
Yeah, sure, right. That was Nicolas foreshadowing into a future role. He's like, I want to be that. But at the time, Nicolas Cage was as skinny as Sam Rockwell in some teenage movie. I don't know. But, like, he was skinny. He was a little guy.
He was very small. His hair
Very,
was
very, very small. Yes. I think at this point the Coen Brothers were in negotiation with Marvel, and just there was a lot of back and forth about Ghost Rider, so they just gave it Warthog from Hell instead of.
Right, that makes sense too. Sure, future planning. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I do still enjoy this movie. I don't know. There's a very heartwarming movie to me that there'd be parents out there that want a baby so bad.
There was another, yeah. I mean, okay, so that's like the basis of this film is that even though, both H.I. and Ed had their faults about, going to actually steal a baby, there was still a lot of love. There was so much love in between them that for the simple fact that she wanted to have a family and a baby so much, and that he was willing to go do that. I mean...
Went into the house.
Yes.
Came back out. Was like, it just didn't work out.
And went back in.
And went back in.
That's huge. That is a lot of love right there. That
deal.
second time is a lot of love right there. I could see an average Joe going in once, but it takes a special kind of high to go in there twice.
Do you guys see that, like, do you see that Hi and Ed are still together?
Of course. Who else would have him?
Ed came to her senses and left a degenerate recidivist on the side of the road.
I'm not saying he didn't go to prison. And whatnot.
So and I guess I kind of see that. Well, one, their actual courtship was just him being fingerprinted and getting his mud was like a series of fingerprints and mugshots. And I guess
what kind of gal says yes?
Right. And each time they he went in there were like 3 times, right? And each time was like months.
You're just a desert flower.
So it's like, I would say like, 5 to 6 years this has been going on between them.
It was a long courtship, but a courtship nonetheless.
There were like no letters or nothing. That was the only time he saw her, and she agreed to this.
Right.
So
I'm a free man. I came here on purpose this time. The only time he's come to see her on purpose.
Right.
He asked her to marry him.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys real quick. Do you see? I saw High's bunkmate in prison as kind of in Forrest Gump that Bubba is almost an homage to that guy.
This is perfect. Yes, indeed. And on this point, I am going to throw down my geek to geek challenge.
Uh-oh.
Geek versus. You can do this one of 2 ways. You can do this 3 questions, which is kind of, 3 questions.
Where did you get these questions?
Or
and do you know the actual
you
answers?
could go 5 questions, which is the mercenary way to go.
Which gonna go.
So which is it then?
Well, here's my question: where did you get these questions, and do you have the actual real answers, or are these answers you've come up with?
I got the questions through magic, and yes, I have the real answers.
Okay.
I will say this: when I start talking, Kahmeela does drop out. So if we're both talking at the same time, I do apologize.
Okay.
All right. Well, I could do it like this. I could ask you 1 question each. If you fail to get it, the other person gets a chance to answer.
Yes, that's a good way.
I think that's good.
I'm going to keep score.
Okay. 3 questions. And 1 each.
No.
Okay. All right. 1 each.
No, when I run out of questions, that's what happens. We'll see who wins.
Okay. Who are you asking first?
Okay. Versus.
Ladies first. Ladies first.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so we were talking about H.I.'s bunkmate.
Uh-huh.
Remember him?
Yeah.
How did H.I.'s bunkmate prepare his crawdads?
I totally stopped listening. Like, it's something about sand and in a pot? I don't know.
You're so close. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to
No,
think
I'm not going to
about.
come up with it. Jarvis, it's your turn.
Okay. Jarvis, how did H.I.'s bunkmate prepare his crawdads?
They boiled them in a pot, I thought.
He put him in the pot without water, like popcorn.
That's right.
Nobody. Zeros across the board. I was just like, what the hell is he saying? He's going, I bet my daddy taught me how to make the crawdads, and he boiled water with the crawdads, but I didn't want to have any of the
And put
crawdads.
water in there, not like popcorn.
So I just put them in the pot without the water, and they popped up like popcorn that time. That's how I
All
did
right, I have to edit.
All right. Question 2. That's pure gold right there. Who is H.I.'s coworker talking about? Remember the guy who chew his gum?
Yes.
Well, first of all, that's M. Emmett Walsh, and he's got his lunch in the one hand and Glenn's fucking head in the other.
Right.
No, and Glenn is the guy's name.
Glenn, that's who he's talking about?
Yeah, the one he was talking about.
Okay.
You think H.I.'s coworker is talking about? You were talking about the guy chewing his gum.
Yeah.
H.I.'s there at his little. He just to drill holes in steel for a living, and you say he's talking about Glenn.
Glenn.
That is the incorrect answer.
I don't know who he's talking about.
Well, you know he's not talking about Bill Robertson. Not that.
Not that mother scratcher.
That mother scratcher. He's talking about Bill Parker.
Oh.
No, Parker.
Parker.
And a little side note, their name tag or the logos on their jumpsuits, Hudsucker.
Hudsucker Industries for the Hudsucker proxy. Yep.
Coen Brothers working it. Love it. All right. So obviously, I need to pull from the lower fruit on the tree.
No, we're doing you terrible. I'm sorry.
What
We're
does
failing you.
Nathan? Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. What does Nathan Arizona do for a living? Or what does Nathan Arizona sell for a
He
living?
sells unpainted furniture.
That is correct. Unpainted furniture.
That was
Kahmeela
really
is
low hanging
on the
fruit.
scoreboard with 1. All right, I like it.
Can I have a follow-up question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why did he change his name? Because no one would buy unpainted furniture from unpainted Hoffines?
Yes.
Ooh, Jarvis just got question number 5 right. Because question number 5 was, what is Miss Arizona's real last name? Huffides. Well done.
So what's the time?
You're a precog.
What?
Well, I hate to have it come out on your podcast, but use it because it'll sell it.
So I think that's probably the tie-breaking factor
No,
right there.
I have a tie-breaking question.
Oh, okay.
The tie-breaking question is, what is H.I.'s real first name?
I don't know.
You.
Is that your final answer?
Sure, why not?
That is incorrect. Boo.
Kahmeela, it has been a pleasure to tie with you on Freaks in Jeopardy.
His real name is Herbert.
Herbert.
Yes, Act 2 opens up with him writing a Dear John letter to
Right.
Edwina,
sign it
and he
Herbert?
signs it Herbert.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Probably one of the first things he said, too, like in the opening.
No, he
Oh.
did not.
Oh, he
I was
didn't?
listening for it the whole time.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, that's it. Well done on your question round there, Daniel.
Very nice. Very nice.
So there's another thing that I did find pretty ridiculous but amusing is when Gail and H.I. fight. And the fact that 2 grown-ass men in this tiny trailer and they're fucking shit up. And I love the fact that it seems extremely realistic that what you would expect would happen in a tiny trailer if
Right.
2 big dudes were to get into a fight. Like everything is just like, every punch, the elbow goes through
Goes
the
in the
wall.
glass. Yes. Well, kind of talking about trivia, Dan. I mean, a lot of the shots that were used in this, I don't know if you were aware, but the Coen Brothers were the directors of photography for one of Sam Raimi's first films, and they're really good friends with Sam Raimi. And a lot of the shots that they use in that, they brought Sam Raimi on set because of what he had done with The Evil Dead for a lot of the camera work. And like one of those shots is the legs during that fight scene kind of being twirled around. There's the shot where they have the camera on a 2x4 running up to the Arizona household when the mom finds out that the baby's escaped or been kidnapped. And so there's a definitive Sam Raimi kind of touch to a lot of the shots in that film.
Nice.
That absolutely is. Yeah, I totally see that now. Good call.
Huh. Guys are awesome.
Well, like Dan said, I know one or two things about not much. So
A little bit, something.
a little something for you.
So, what's your favorite Coen Brothers movie, Jarvis?
You know, I'm going to be ultra hipster douchebag and say Miller's Crossing because I can be like, no one's seen it, but it's a really good film if you haven't seen it.
Nice.
Oh my
well
God.
played. I have not seen it.
No, I have not seen it.
Well played.
Well, let me lord that over you. How about you guys?
I think mine would either be No Country for Old Men was really good. Let me
Great one.
real quick. Balls. I just had it. Hold on, we're getting there. We're almost there. No Country for Old Men. Oh, Fargo was excellent, and God, I would have to say Fargo was probably my favorite one. You know, that's a little more mainstream, but
Still a great film.
yeah, it's great. Have you watched any of the television show?
Haven't. It's on my to-do list, and everyone I know whose opinion I respect have all said that it's just amazing.
Well, let's just add one more person because it is amazing.
There you go.
And I think one of the reasons why, not the TV, but the film, like I love Steve Buscemi in it, and you know William H. Macy as well as Frances McDermott, but Peter Stormare, my absolute most favorite dude to play villain or weird in a film, is in that film, and I love him so. I think that's probably why I gravitate towards him so much.
He fits their sensibilities well. I would also throw in, and I know Dan's going to say Big Lebowski, as he should, but Oh Brother Where Art Thou is also up there for me.
Yeah, I was going to say, Oh Brother Where Art Thou? I totally forgot about Big Lebowski, dude. Thanks for reminding me.
Just one more shout out, once again, one more gush to Peter Stormare, best on screen.
Oh, the nihilist, yeah.
No,
the nihilist.
No, best on screen devil ever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Barton Fink, they did Barton Fink, didn't they?
I still have to watch it.
That's the one that got me hooked because I remember, yeah. And there's what's John Turturro as Jesus and Big Lebowski. I mean, what's not to like?
The Jesus.
I love it.
You try to pull that shit with me, I take the gun out of your hand, stick it up your ass, and pull the trigger until it goes click.
And another thing about the Coen Brothers is I do like the fact that they reuse actors, because I guess you know John Goodman has been in several of their films as well as later on like George Clooney or John Turturro, and I like that to reuse a lot of characters, and it's like a thing that's been kind of taken over now with television, like with American Horror Story, and I think American Crime Story, as where they're same characters and each season is something totally different, or they're taking the same actors and making them different characters, which I enjoy seeing.
Yeah,
people in different roles.
Yeah, the Coen Brothers live in an interesting universe, and they do keep it consistent and
consistently weird.
Yeah, consistently weird, and dreamy, and monologue-y with a bit of poetic justice.
Well said, Dan. Well said.
Now we usually just kind of touch on the soundtrack a little bit, but this is like the soundtrack is typical Coen Brother. What would you guys call this music? Like,
kind of Jewish hoedown.
Jewish hoedown.
Yes, it speaks to me. You understand, Jarvis. Bluegrass, people.
There we go.
Jewgrass.
Jewgrass.
Little known fact: Bill Monroe had his bar mitzvah when he was 20.
All right, I believe it.
So, what would you each what star rating would you each give this?
Did you just ask wet star rating?
What star rating?
Jeez, man, this headphone.
All right. When I was a kid, I gave it a 9. As an adult, I give it a solid 7.5.
I should have told you it's from 1 to 5.
Oh, then definitely 9 and 7.5. Well, okay, 1 to 5. I apologize. As a kid, I'd give it a 5. As an adult, I'd give it 4.
Dan?
Ooh, that's a narrow difference. I don't know, 4 all the way around, as a child and an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Oh, yeah?
Just because, because there were points where I left the room and didn't care and came back. But there were also, that half.
I thought it was just because you had laundry to do.
Well, there's that. But I could have paused it, but there were some points I didn't. But but there are certain scenes that kind of bump it up a little. That's just like, yeah. I mean, there are definite. It's one of those films. Okay, we'll get to that.
I'm a little weird in the Coen Brothers. I am like the niche market of the Coen Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I appreciate both kind of like the historic and cultural curiosity and just the vulnerable human story. I don't know. They do it for me. I like the Coen Brothers all the way around. The only reason I don't give it a higher number is because you could see the stitch in the drapes, so to speak. You could see some of the kind of heavy-handed architecture sometimes. But again, early film, so to be expected. Nutsucker Proxy, seamless. That might be their best work in terms of...
I mean, it's still a good film. Raising Arizona is a good film. It's just not something that I was like halfway through it, because before we did this, I thought about buying it, and then halfway through it, I was like, I'm glad I didn't buy this.
A Muncie girl.
Go Eagles!
So I guess are you gentlemen down to watch it again?
Yeah, there might be a point in my life in which I own a Coen Brothers volume series.
Jarvis?
I've seen this movie probably a dozen times. I watching it again. I'm probably going to watch it with my nieces and nephews at some point. So absolutely.
Aw. I'll probably watch it again, but like on a Sunday for nap time kind of thing.
Still in and out.
I mean, it's like I'll put it on and fall asleep until I fall. Just wait till I fall asleep and then be okay with it.
Awesome. That'll be like 2 of my favorite activities: staring at Kahmeela while she sleeps and watching a be great.
So where you guys can watch the Raising Arizona film, it's on demand right now. We watched it for $3.99, and it's also on Amazon. How'd you watch it, Jarvis?
I bought the $5 DVD.
Yeah. so or you can just go ahead and buy the $5 DVD in that $5 bin at Walmart.
Yep.
Nice.
What's his name? Hi, Junior, till we think of a better one. Well, why don't you call him Jason? I just love biblical names. If I had another little boy, I would name him Jason, Caleb, or Tab. Oh, he's an angel. He's an angel straight from heaven. No, honey, I had all my kids the hard way. You just got to tell me how you got this little angel. What do you do? Just fly straight down from heaven. Well, you're going to send him to Arizona State.
So now we come to the Bechdel test. No, it fails.
Explain.
The Bechdel.
Wait. Frances McDormand and Holly Hunter, they have a discussion about the baby, but okay.
Okay, all right. For those who don't know, the Bechdel test is a type of litmus test to assess the presence of women in movies. It originated from Alison Bechdel's comic Dykes to Watch Out For in 1985, just 2 years before this film came out. The rules of the test are as follows. 1, it has to have at least 2 named women in it. Yes, we have Ed and Dot. 2, they need to talk to each other. They sure do, over mustering some sandwiches at a picnic table. And 3, something besides a man. I guess, yeah, it does, because they're talking about the dip test. You need to have the dip test.
And
the dip test.
They're talking to a man together.
Right. But they're talking about the baby boy and his needs.
Right.
Now wait. There was the convict who was talking about getting the menstrual cramps real hard. Does that count?
He wasn't talking to another woman.
We're gonna have to write Bechtel and be like, okay, look, are babies men for purposes of this analysis?
I don't think so. I would me personally, I would say no. Babies are not.
Baby.
You're right, it's a baby,
Yeah.
and that's a different thing. Of course, a mother is going to talk about her child's son.
But neither one of those women were that Nathan's mother.
But for all intents and purposes, Ed was.
Or related.
Ed was. And, Dot was under the assumption that she was.
Right. That was.
And so, they were talking about the care and health and well-being of that baby and all the things that she needed to do as a mother, as a new mother.
And Evel knew about the dip test.
She getting a dip test.
Get it?
All to be scarce tomorrow. I got some stuff to do. You get the dip test?
So I guess we'll go ahead and say that, yes, it does pass the Bechdel test. I may have... they're talking...
With an asterisk.
With an asterisk, okay. We'll do that.
There we go.
You got anything else you want to add, Jarvis?
Enjoying doing these podcasts with you guys. Thanks for having me back on, and would like to do it again at some point.
Yes, come back as much as you want to.
I would the Jonathan Sales movie.
Who's Jonathan Sales?
Jonathan Sales? Ooh, well, we can have a discussion about that, but if oh man, let's really switch tones and watch Matewan, which is about the creation of the coal unions in South Carolina in the 1920s.
What about Hal Hartley?
I've watched one of those with you, haven't I?
Yeah, we should do a Hal Hartley film too, I think.
Yeah.
Do you want to revisit Henry Fool and find out if it splits the people into those who hated it and who loved it?
Right. I'm totally disappointed I don't own that movie because it would be another movie I could annoy my wife with.
I've tried to purchase it for you for several occasions and whatnot, but apparently for the longest time it's been like $30 for a DVD.
Oh, no, don't pay that much.
It's not gonna happen.
Respect the artist. Hal Hartley deserves $30.
Okay, so once again, I'd like to thank Dan for joining us because he doesn't normally do so, and thank Jarvis. Thank you for joining us. And
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
as always, please subscribe, like, rate, review, follow, all that jazz. We're a DTW Podcast on Twitter, Down to Watch Podcast on Facebook. But here's the catch. On SoundCloud and iTunes, you can find our podcast, but it's under Rugged Angel Productions, and Rugged Angel is one word. You can also go to ruggedangel.com and find some past episodes and links to other cool stuff.
Storm Large episode was awesome.
Once again, thank you all for listening. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Jarvis. And until next time.